The media has spent the last week trying to convince America that Thanksgiving is a celebration rooted in evil.
Pilgrims did not bring turkey, sweet potato pie, or cranberries to Thanksgiving. Instead of bringing stuffing and biscuits, those settlers brought genocide and violence. That genocide and violence is still on the menu.
Well, at my house, we might have some pie on the menu, but certainly not genocide. And well, not to be outdone, newspapers rushed to join the hate, with the Philadelphia Tribune saying celebrating Thanksgiving is celebrating racist genocide, and USA Today framing Thanksgiving as day of mourning for indigenous people. But this revisionist history is just wrong. The Pilgrims were friends with their hosts and thankful for their help, as writer Rich Lowry points out, saying, quote, "The peace with the Wampanoag lasted about 50 years. It's a mistake to read future conflicts back into the 1621 feast, a moment of hopefulness. So tomorrow is a day about coming together to celebrate our family, our freedoms, and the fact that we live in the greatest country on earth." And maybe nothing sums it up more than these powerful words from one of America's great thinkers, Linus from the Peanuts.
In the year 1621, the Pilgrims held their first Thanksgiving feast. They invited the great Indian chief, Massasoit, who brought 90 of his brave Indians and a great abundance of food. Elder William Brewster, who was a minister, said a prayer that went something like this: "We thank God for our homes and our food and our safety in a new land. We thank God for the opportunity to create a new world for freedom and justice."
And that is what this holiday is about. Thanking God for everything we have in this beautiful country. Well, that and a little bit of football. But it's certainly not about trying to trash those people who built this great nation. So here to respond for a little bit of optimism is the governor of South Dakota and my friend, Kristi Noem. So, Governor, listen, give me some optimism. What are you celebrating, and what are the people in South Dakota celebrating and thankful for as you come into Thanksgiving tomorrow?
Well, first of all, Sean, thank you for covering the true history of this holiday. It's an incredibly special holiday for all of us here in South Dakota and across the country. And you telling the story of what really happened back then is incredibly important, because I've learned that throughout the years we have to continue to educate the next generation on what the real history is and what a true history is. And the fact that those Native Americans far outnumbered those Pilgrims at Plymouth, and they brought the food to them and helped take care of them, and they celebrated and were grateful together, I think is an incredibly important message for this country today. Listen, in South Dakota, we're still harvesting. We have some folks that are still bringing food in from the fields, so we're incredibly grateful for safety and the good weather that we've had. A lot of people are hunting deer and pheasants in the morning, and then we're all going to sit around our tables and celebrate our families and be glad that God has blessed South Dakota in incredible ways. You talked about a lot of other states that are tearing down statues. South Dakota's putting them up. In fact, we're taking the 4 presidents that are on Mount Rushmore. We're building statues to them and putting them on our Capitol Rotunda so that we can send a message to the rest of the world that we're proud of our leaders. We know they were flawed, but they led us through challenging times, and that we're going to stand behind our true and honest history.
You know, Governor, it is great to have awesome governors who defend history. But as I talked about in this lead up to bringing you on, there is a concern because the left is canceling 2 of the faces on Mount Rushmore. Any concerns about the left coming for Mount Rushmore in South Dakota?
Well, there was a lot of threats, especially when President Trump visited July 3rd of 2020. In fact, we had to put security folks out there, and they partnered very well with Secret Service and with other law enforcement officers to keep it safe. It was amazing to me the threats that were coming against Mount Rushmore. Several people were threatening to blow it up. Several were threatening to pour red paint down the faces and stain it forever. And we had to expend resources as a state to protect that national monument. So, you know, the real hate in this country, I think, for our history, we have to recognize has been around for a very long time, although it's not been something that so many people in the country have been aware of and that we've realized has taken place and is continuing to take place in so many parts of this country.
You know, and to that point, Governor, we see that now more than ever, right? The left is attacking history. They're attacking Thanksgiving. And so I guess the question for you is, you know, how do we actually defend it? You know, what do we have to do as Americans, leaders like you as governors or parents? How do we defend history and Thanksgiving to make sure we preserve it for future generations?
Well, you tell the history and you educate people. Use every opportunity you have to be in front of a group to share the true history of what happened.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why when we're focusing on our K-12 curriculum is making sure that we're going to have children read the Declaration of Independence. We're going to have them read the history of Thanksgiving and what really happened so that we can't have people twist it and make lies out of it and use it for an agenda that they want to fundamentally change this country. So our foundation was built on people seeking freedom. They came here for freedom from tyranny and wanted a democracy and a republic where they could make choices for themselves. And those pilgrims at Plymouth learned that through their partnership and their work with the Native Americans, that they could have success in this country after very difficult times. And they did so, and that's why we're all here today.
You know, Governor, I'm so grateful for your leadership, all you've done in South Dakota. Thank you, and I appreciate your friendship, and have a great Thanksgiving with your family.
Well, you tell Rachel and the kids happy Thanksgiving from the Nome family. We miss them, and we're grateful for your friendship.
And to Brian as well.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.